Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are cracking open the marketer's playbook. We're going to look at the exact strategies, from those unforgettable ads to the sales that seem impossible to resist, that are all designed to grab your attention and, influence what you do next.
I mean, think about it for a second. You and I were just bombarded with ads every single day. So why is it that some of them stick in your head for years, while literally thousands of others just, poof, they vanish? Well, it's not magic, it's strategy. And today, we're going to learn the rules of the game.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll nail down what advertising really is. Then, we're going to unpack the 5-step playbook for actually creating a campaign. After that, we'll get into a totally different tool, sales promotions. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by asking the biggest question of all. How do they even know if any of this stuff actually works?
Okay, let's start with the absolute basics. What are we really talking about when we use the word advertising? Because it's so much more than just a catchy tune or a cool-looking commercial. At its very core, it's
A paid form of non-personal presentation by an identified sponsor. Okay, so the two words you really want to focus on here are paid and identified. This isn't your friend giving you a recommendation over coffee. It's a deliberate, funded message from a company. And the goal? Well, it's to inform you, to persuade you, and sometimes just to entertain you.
And this is where things get really interesting, because it brings us to this huge debate. Is advertising a helpful guide, or is it a powerful manipulator? So the information side of things says it's a guide. It gives you the facts, it gives you prices, and helps you find the best value. But the market power view, well, it argues that advertising does a whole lot more, that it actively shapes your tastes, builds this fierce brand loyalty, and can even make it impossible for new competitors to break in. The truth, it's probably somewhere in the middle.
Okay, so if that's the what, this next section is all about the how. We're opening up the playbook to see exactly how a simple idea gets turned into that big ad campaign you see on your screen or in a magazine.
So every professional ad campaign follows this 5-stage process. And listen, the order here is absolutely critical. It all has to start with objectives. I mean, you can't win if you don't know what the goal is, right? Is it just about getting your name out there, or is it about driving sales? Only after you know that do you set a budget. Then comes the fun part, the message, the creative soul of the whole thing. After you figure out what you're going to say, you have to decide where to say it by selecting your media. And finally, you close the loop with measurement, figuring out if you actually hit those goals you set way back in step 1.
Now, setting that budget, that's a huge decision, and there are a few different ways to go about it. Some companies play it safe. They just base it on a percentage of their sales, or they spend whatever they feel is affordable. Others kind of look over their shoulder, using what's called competitive parity to just try and match whatever their rivals are spending. But the most strategic way, the pro-level way, is the objective and task method. That's where you start with your goal and then you figure out, task by task, exactly what it's going to cost to get there. It's really the difference between just guessing and actually having a plan.
But let's be real. Of all those stages, the part we all remember is the creative. This is the absolute heart of the playbook. It's not just about how much money you throw at something, it's about crafting a message that can actually cut through all the noise out there. And it really all boils down to two simple questions. What are you going to say? And just as important, how are you going to say it?
One famous philosophy on this comes from a guy named Rosser Reeves, and it was called the Unique Selling Proposition, or USP. His thinking was just relentlessly simple. He said, find the one thing your product does better than anyone else and just hammer that single point home, over and over again. The entire ad had to be built around a benefit that was so unique and so compelling that it practically did the selling for you.
But now, contrast that with a total legend, David Ogilvy. He was playing a completely different game. For Ogilvy, it wasn't about one single punchy proposition. It was about building a long-term image. He believed that the character of the brand was everything. The goal wasn't just to make a sale today, but to build a prestigious, trustworthy identity that would keep paying off for decades. So you've got two very different plays from the same book.
Okay, so once you've got that perfect message, you need the right megaphone to shout it. And the toolkit for that is massive. Advertisers are picking from everything, from the glossy pages of a magazine, to a TV spot during the big game, to a giant billboard you pass on your way to work. Each channel is picked for a very specific reason, to reach a certain kind of person in a certain place at a certain time.
And here's a little piece of insider jargon for you, GRP, or gross rating point. When the media planners are trying to compare different options, say TV versus radio, this is their go-to number. It's actually pretty simple. It just multiplies the channel's reach, which is how many different people see the ad, by its frequency, how many times they see it. It's just a quick way to score the potential firepower of any media plan.
So, advertising builds the brand for the long haul. But what happens when a company needs sales, like right now? Well, that's when they pull out their other key weapon, sales promotion.
Sales promotion is all about one thing, the short term. It is not trying to build a beautiful brand image over years. It is all about giving you a direct, tangible reason, an incentive to buy something immediately. Just think of it as that final little nudge that's designed to push you over the finish line. Here is the simplest way to think about the difference. Advertising works on your attitude over time. It's kind of whispering, buy our product. Sales promotion, on the other hand, is all about immediate action. It's shouting, buy our product now. One builds the brand, and the other one cashes it in.
And the promotion toolkit is just packed with tactics that you have definitely seen. We're talking about everything from a simple price off and the coupons you get in the mail to more engaging things like contests and giveaways. And then you've got stuff like cashback rebates and even discounts for the stores themselves to help them move product off the shelf.
A price off is probably the one you see most often. You see a product you already know, but for a limited time, hey, it's 20% cheaper. The goal is super simple. Get you to buy it right now, help clear out some inventory, and maybe, just maybe, get someone who's been on the fence to finally give it a try.
Now, contests, that's a more creative play. By inviting you to compete for some huge prize like a dream vacation or a brand new car, a company creates a ton of excitement and gets you to actually engage with the brand. It's less about that direct sale in the moment and way more about building buzz and just a good feeling around their name.
And that brings us to our final and maybe most important section. After all this planning, all this spending, all this creative energy, how does a company know if any of it is actually working? It's the billion-dollar question, really.
You know, there's this famous quote in the industry that goes something like this. I know half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half. And that just perfectly captures the problem here. Figuring out the direct impact of your marketing dollars has always been incredibly difficult.
So, marketers basically have to attack this measurement problem from two different angles. First, there's the communication effect. Did people actually see the ad? Do they remember the message? They test this with things like surveys and recall tests. But then you've got the bottom line, the sales effect. Did our sales actually go up? How many people used that coupon code? One tells you if the message got through, the other tells you if it made the cash register ring.
So, there you have it, the marketer's playbook. From building a brand for the long term with advertising to driving a quick sale with the promotion. Now, the next time you see that really clever ad or that limited time offer, you'll know the strategy behind it. The only question left is, now that you know the plays, will you ever look at a special offer the same way again? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.